One morning in 1623, Parisians were hailed by mysterious placards on the streets of Paris. We, the deputies of the Higher College of the Rosicrucians, do make our stay, visibly and invisibly, in this city, by the grace of the Most High, to whom turn the hearts of the just. We demonstrate and instruct, without books and distinctions, the ability to speak all manners of tongues of the countries where we choose to be, in order to draw our fellow creatures from deadly error. He who takes it upon himself to see us merely out of curiosity will never make contact with us. But if his inclination seriously impels him to seek our fellowship, we, who are judges of intentions, will cause him to see the truth of our promises, to the extent that we shall not make known the place of our meeting in this city, since the thoughts attached to the real desire of the seeker will lead us to him, and him to us. These posters referred to a mysterious fraternity, to a secret society, the Rosicrucians. It was not the first time that this fraternity had been talked about. A few years earlier, it had already published 3 manifestos that became famous in the esoteric world: the Fama Fraternitatis, the Confessio Fraternitatis, and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz, published in 1614, 1615, and 1616 respectively. Today we know that these 3 manifestos were written by a college of the Rosicrucians, the famous Tübingen Circle, among whom were Johann Valentin André, Tobias Hess, Johann Arndt, Abraham Holzer, and Christopher Beissol, to name the most important. All were passionate about Hermeticism, alchemy, and Kabbalah. The Fama Fraternitatis was intended for political and religious leaders, as well as for scientists of the time. While drawing attention to the negative situation that generally prevailed in Europe, this document also revealed the existence of the Order of the Rose Cross through the allegorical story of Christian Rosencreutz, telling of his journey throughout the world before founding the Rosicrucian fraternity to the discovery of his tomb. This manifesto called for a universal reform. The Confessio Fraternitatis completes the first manifesto. On the one hand, it insists on the necessity of regeneration for man and society. On the other hand, it indicates that the fraternity of the Rosicrucians possesses a philosophical science that allows one to achieve this regeneration. It is therefore intended primarily for seekers who have the desire to participate in the work of the order, while also working towards the happiness of humanity. The prophetic aspect of this document very much intrigued the scholars of that time. The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz is written in a style that is very different from the first 2 manifestos. It describes a journey of initiation that represents the quest for illumination. This 7-day journey mainly takes place in a mysterious castle where the wedding of a king and a queen is to be celebrated. Symbolically, the chemical wedding describes the spiritual progression bringing the initiate to achieve union between his soul, the bride, and God, the groom. As historians, thinkers, and philosophers have pointed out, the publication of the 3 Rosicrucian manifestos was neither trivial nor inopportune. They were published at a time when Europe was going through a very important existential crisis. Europe was divided politically and torn by economic conflict. Religious wars were causing widespread sorrow and desolation that touched most families. Science was taking off and had a materialistic orientation, and living conditions were miserable for the majority of the people. The Rosicrucians, therefore, came out of their legendary secrecy to call for more humanism and spirituality. We can cite Comenius, considered today as the spiritual father of UNESCO.
We would like for all human beings, together or individually, young or old, rich or poor, noblemen or commoners, men or women, to be fully educated and to become accomplished beings. We would like them to be educated and informed completely, not only on such and such a point, but also on all that will allow them to achieve their essence integrally, to yearn to know the truth, not to be deceived by pretense, to love good and not to be seduced by evil, to do what should be done and to keep from what should be avoided, to speak wisely of all with all. Lastly, to treat things, men and God, with prudence and not lightly, and to never stray from their goal, happiness.
Even though the historical origins of the Rosicrucians lie in the 17th century, the order's traditional heritage is much more ancient. Some historians of esotericism think that it goes back to ancient Egypt, more precisely to the era of Amenhotep IV, also known as Akhenaten. As confirmed by many Egyptologists, there existed during this era the mystery schools, where one could study the mysteries of the universe, nature, and human beings themselves. This study gave rise to a gnosis, a secret knowledge that was perpetuated throughout the centuries. From Egypt to ancient Greece, passing through the Pythagoreans, and then to ancient Rome via the Neoplatonists.